What's up guys, MegaMikey here, and I'm bringing you guys the second video of my new series titled How MegaMikey Makes His Pets Tutorial. Now, the first video of this tutorial was titled Making a Pet from Scratch, Ivanenko's Tiger #1. And it turns out I messed up pretty badly. I got a few tweets and comments sent to me, which thank you guys for sending them to me. Basically, what the people in the comment section were telling me is that this series isn't a series on how to make a pet from scratch. This is basically a series on how to make my own pets. And a lot of you seem to enjoy it. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm going to post some comments on the screen. A lot of people are actually loving this. They're saying it's helpful. They love it. And I just thank you guys so much for the support. Like, I'm reading it right now on my phone. And the comments are amazing. So thank you guys. You guys even left suggestions on wanting me to do fire, ice, and death pets, which I can gladly do if you guys are up to watch that. However, a lot of people have been telling me that the series isn't what I called it to be. And one of the comments... Okay, so this is the comment that I basically based the information off of earlier. This guy named Zachary Black, well, not guy, this person, sorry, I'm not sure if you're a boy or a girl, but this person named Zachary Black left me a long message. Thank you so much. I'll put it up on the screen. He says, "Believe me, this is not making a pet from scratch. Making a pet from scratch requires you to take an amount of pets that have somewhat decent talents and hatch them countless times so you can achieve the correct combination of the desired talents." And he is correct. Like I said in the first video, I'm not a pet doctor, but this guy, he knows what he's talking about. I know about this information as well, but that just didn't process in my head while I was making the video. So basically what he means is if I have 5 pets, correct, and one of the pet has Defender. Okay, no, here. If I have 5 pets and I'm going for triple damage proof fairy, and the first pet has Defender, another pet has Dealer, another one has Giver, another one has Proof, another one has Fairy, and only those pets have those talents, I would have to train the pet with Fairy, and once Fairy pops up as a talent, then I would hatch that with the pet with Fire Giver. And then once Fire Giver shows up, I will combine that until I get Fairy and Fire Giver. And then that would be a start. And then I would have to train the pet that has Proof in it, hoping that Proof shows up, and then remove all the selfish talents on the pet and try to put that onto the pet that already has Fairy and Fire Giver. It's a long explanation, a long process, and that is not what I intended to do. That is not the series that I intended to make. I really do apologize. However, because you guys found this tutorial for the first video so helpful, I am going to continue making this series for storm pets, fire pets, ice pets, death pets, whatever you guys suggest, and I will do them. I might even consider doing them daily since it's very helpful and it's very quick to make, especially since I know all the information that I'm going to tell you guys. So I decided to tell this series how MegaMikey makes his pets. If you recall, I've made many tutorial videos in the past, such as MegaMikey's Insignia Gear Guide, how does MegaMikey gets his Mega Snacks, etc, etc. So this is basically going to be another tutorial similar to that, and this one will be how MegaMikey makes his pets. So I will basically be telling you guys how I would make my own pets. If I have a pet from a vendor that I would purchase a pet from a vendor, I will tell you guys how I would get that pet with those horrible stats on it, those first generation talents, and get a better pet and transfer those talents onto that pet. Now, this would be best suited for my low-level account. However, it would be hard to record my low-level account hatching with my main account back and forth, because Fraps has this weird thing where if you tab out of your recording and go to another one, then the game will freeze and crash and I have to restart it. So I'm going to be doing this for the sake of you guys, because this guide helps a lot of you out, and at the end you guys will have a chance to even win the pet hatch. So I've done a lot of explaining. Hopefully it made sense, and if it didn't, I apologize. I can do a simpler explanation in the description if you've even got this far and still didn't understand what I was trying to say. But anyways, we are going to proceed with video number 2 of this series. So if you recall in the last video, the pet that I received was Lady Sydney. Lady Sydney was hatched with King Dexter, the adult storm salamander, with the talents of Steadfast and Canny, and they were hatched with Madam Coco, which has triple damage, proof, and Storm Striker. Now, if you are confused as to what these numbers mean, like if this is the first video you have seen out of the series, then I highly suggest you watch the first video and know what these talents mean and what these, like what these statistics mean on the side over here, and why it is important to get the pet up to adult, and the self-hatching process. If you guys are confused on that or haven't seen my first video, go ahead and watch that. It covers everything that I basically just mentioned, all in a nutshell, within a 16-15 minute video. And a lot of you have been asking me to make this video a lot longer, so I can definitely do that, since I did plan on making this series about 10 episodes long anyway. But anyways, moving on to Lady Sydney. Lady Sydney was hatched with Madam Coco and King Dexter in the last video, and the numbers went up to 250 first hatch, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, that does not happen a lot. It does happen often where if you have a pet with max stats, that the max stats numbers will transfer on to the first pet within one hatch. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does, but in this case mine did. However, intellect and power still remain below 250, which we can easily get up as soon as we bring this pet to adult. So that's what we're going to do now. But before I go over that, I want to go over the talent pool real quick. The talent pool is epic, uncommon, ultra rare, epic, uncommon, ultra rare, uncommon, uncommon, rare, and ultra rare. So we are going to see what was transferred within the pets as of right now. So I'm probably going to pull up a side picture from the pet hatch that we did yesterday. So I actually can't see it, but I'm just going to base it off of my own knowledge from what I know about pet hatching. So at the bottom, the three bottom talents right here from Madam Coco are Storm Dealer, Storm Giver, and Storm Striker. And the three bottom talents, well, in a simpler way to put it, ultra rare, uncommon, and ultra rare. And on King Dexter, it is uncommon, uncommon, and rare. So the thing that we should see on the bottom of Lady Sydney should be only one uncommon if the talents have successfully transferred over. And in this case, some did and some didn't. We do have this ultra rare at the bottom, which is Storm Striker, as you can see, because Storm Striker was on the bottom of Madam Coco, and it is an ultra rare talent, and that is something that King Dexter did not have. He did not have an ultra rare talent. So if the final product of the first hatch of these two pets obtained the ultra rare at the very bottom, that is 100% guarantee that it is Storm Striker. Reason because, like I said, King Dexter did not have that, and Madam Coco did. And if it appears on the final product for the first hatch, then that 100% means that ultra rare is at the bottom. And as for the uncommon at the top there, it could be Storm Giver because the talents can shift. Sometimes the talents don't stay in one place. So the talent for Storm Giver could have shifted to the very top, which could be a thing. However, that's not 100%. It could be the uncommon that is listed over here for King Dexter. So that is one thing. Alright guys, I had my cursor disabled for the video like I always do, and I put it back. I hope you guys can see it, so it would help out a lot. So, because I'm pointing at something and you guys can't see it. So, like I said, what I just said still applies. And as for Spell Proof and Pain Giver, those two talents are something that King Dexter did not have, because King Dexter only has uncommon and rares. It doesn't have commons, ultra rares, or epics. So any epic, ultra rare talents from Madam Coco that appear on here are from my pet 100% guaranteed. Now, for my Albanenko's Tiger, Spell Proof, as you can see, is in the third position. It's in the third from the top. So third from the very top. Okay. And as you can see over here, it is fourth. Like I said, the talents do tend to shift, but in this case, since Epic wasn't at the top, and another unknown epic talent was, that means that that unknown epic talent has transferred to the very top of the pet. Now, the other epic, the only other epic that is on this pet, is 100% spell proof, and you can confirm that because, like I said, this pet does not have any epics while this one does. And since the talents do tend to shift, as mentioned previously, then that means that 100% spell proof is right there. Same goes for the ultra rare right here, Pain Giver. So Pain Giver and Spell Proof shifted down on the new pet. So ultra rare was where the uncommon was, and the epic was where the ultra rare was. So they both shifted down, and the uncommon from Storm Dexter is still there, while the uncommon at the top was knocked out by an unknown epic talent from Madam Coco. So I hope that makes sense, and if you have any questions about what I just said, comment down below and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability in the comment section or in the next video. So we're going to get straight to the training. Our goal right now is to only go to adult. We will not be going to mega until the statistics of strength, intellect, agility, will, and power are all above 233. I say 233 because the max power of Madam Coco is 223, and because I hatched that with a pet with a lower amount of power, it will not go above 223 no matter how much you try. At max, it will be 233. So, however, strength, intellect, agility, and will be above 250, and since intellect is 237, our goal is to get that to 250. However, we do not necessarily have to go for that unless Madam Coco had critical block. I say that because intellect at this point, because we are trying to go for triple damage proof and Storm Striker like Madam Coco has, that does not require me to train intellect. Unless intellect improves critical, like just critical hit rating, then we would need to train that. But since it doesn't, we do not need to. So we can actually avoid training intellect as of right now. However, the power, which is 179, must go up. So enough with the explanation. Hopefully it helps some of you. A lot of you are more interested in the training though, just to see the entire process of things. So once again, I will be feeding the pet mega snacks just to speed up the process, and I'll transition and show you guys what the pet receives at teen. Alright guys, the pet is one game away from being teen. Actually, one pet snack away. So here we go, feeding it a golden wheat bread actually. So here we go, ready, set, teen. Okay, this is actually new. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. When I trained up Madam Coco, the talent pool for that, if you ask me right now, I do not know because I trained this pet so long ago. Okay, but whenever I train new pets, everything is literally a mystery to me because I do not know what the pet has because the person that I hatched with didn't tell me. All I know was that the person that I hatched with had the talents that were shown on the pet, and at the time I think was triple damage, proof, and critical striker, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. So there was an unknown talent on Madam Coco that was an epic, and I think we just found out what it was. It was Defender. So we got Defender, that's very unknown, which actually switches up gears, a lot of gears. One of the gears is that we need to improve intellect now if we are going to train up this pet. Now, the goal for how MegaMikey gets his pets was to show you guys the process of just how I get my pets, like the pets that I just randomly make for fun or that I'm going for. And in this case, this is a talent that I got, but even though this isn't the goal of the pet, I'm just going to keep going just for one, we need to go to adult, and two, this actually might turn out to be an interesting pet. And it might be an interesting pet because it's not going to be the same triple damage, proof, and crit anymore because Defender now permanently shows up in the pool and as a talent. So any pet I hatch from now on with this pet has a chance of getting Defender since it showed up within the talent pool, if that makes sense. So we got Defender, so we are going to go ahead to adult and see what it will get next. Maybe it'll be a mystery, or maybe it'll just be triple damage, or maybe it'll just be a damage, a proof, or a critical talent. So that unknown epic that Madam Coco had, I know now that it is Defender. So now we have Defender and spell proof that is unknown on Madam Coco, but this other epic right here, I'm not sure. It might be critical striker. However, only 2 epics show up on here, so the other one, like I said before, automatically has to be spellproof. Unless it's not spellproof. Well, no, it 100% is spellproof. Reason why? Because it shows up on this pet. This epic right here, like the one above the Storm Dealer, like the one above 2 Storm Dealer, doesn't show up. So, since it didn't show up as a talent on Madam Coco, it didn't show up on here, which is normal, because unlike that one, spellproof showed up on Madam Coco, which caused it to show up on Lady Sydney. So we are going to proceed to adult. Like I said, I will let you guys know once it gets there. Alright guys, the pet is ready to become adult. We are going to feed it a Captain Cantaloupe. Here we go. Ready, set, adult. we discovered Spellproof, which is the only epic left on this pet. So the final product of the adult pets so far are both Defender and Spellproof, and if you ask me, those are two talents that a lot of people go for on pets. But in this case, for the series, that is not the pet we were aiming for. However, we're not going to go ahead and retry for these two talents. The whole point of this is just, like I said, how I get my pets, and with the mystery of how I get my pets, new talents can be discovered. Talents that I may not want and talents that I do want. However, I do plan to make a successful pet towards the end of this to give away to you guys. It might turn out to be like Madame Coco, it might not be. I guess I can aim for that. However, with these pet talents that are unknown, it is hard to tell what will come out of it. So hopefully good comes out of it, and if it's a bad pet, I'll obviously continue to make one for you guys. But if it fails, then I can just hatch Madame Coco with anyone in the comment section who is active for the series, as I mentioned in the first video. So that is that. We are going to go into the hatchery and hatch Lady Sydney with Madame Coco, because Madame Coco has the talents that we want, and we need to transfer it to the new pet. And since the new pet is Lady Sydney, we just have to keep on rehatching. And this is honestly what I do. I'm basically bringing you guys through the process of what I do when I make my pets. If you have a pet like Madame Coco, and you get a pet that you don't have, or if you have a pet like Madame Coco and you're getting a pet from like a vendor, this is what you honestly need to do. You need to get the pet, which in this case was the salamander, train it, and get these two selfish talents. Get these two selfish talents if the pet has selfish talents, and then get the results of that pet when you mix it with a pet like Madame Coco, for example, and then the result will turn out to be a pet like this, and it will even have talents that aren't known, and it will even show up on this pet, and in this case it was Defender. So that is what happens with pets. If you have some unknown talents that aren't shown, they may show up, they might not. The chances are extremely low since they didn't show up on this pet, but that doesn't mean that it won't show up on the new product. So we are just going to continue hatching. This is what I do. You just keep rehatching until the talents of Madame Coco start to show up on this one, and the numbers and the pedigree especially increases. So ready, set, hatch. We are going to get another Ivanenko's tiger, and I'm going to talk about pedigree a little bit right now. So the pedigree, when you have a low pet like the Storm Salamander, ooh, Bonnie, that's a nice name. When you get a pet like the Storm Salamander, you will get a pedigree of 37 when you first purchase it. I believe it's always 37 for the Storm Salamander. But regardless, if you hatch that with a pet with like 60 pedigree or 70 or 80, the pedigree will increase, because for one, it can't go lower than that since you're hatching with a pet with a higher pedigree. The only way it will decrease is if you hatch with a pet with a lower pedigree. But since I hatch with a pet with a higher pedigree, the pedigree will slowly go up. And the higher the pedigree, I want to say the higher the pedigree, the higher, or like the better stats that are transferred, or the higher chance that you will get the stats that were shown, or the likely you will, or you will be more likely to end up with the talents and the traits of the talents and the traits that are in the pool of the better pet that you used to hatch. So if that makes sense. If it doesn't, please comment down below and I will answer that question for you in a much simpler way. So in this case, we got Bonnie, and Bonnie has, let's see her talent pool. So the talent pool of Bonnie, as you can see, we are getting rid of uncommons. The Lady Sydney pet had a total of 4 uncommons, and now this one only has 3. So just by this, I can let you guys know what talents I have right now. And as you can see, the pedigree increased 57, is getting closer to what Madame Coco had, which was 62. So once we are around that general area, we will also know that most of the talents have successfully transferred over, and we will be able to make the decision if we are going to Mega or not, based on whether the pet gets at Adult or even Ancient, because at this point, I think I might be ready to train this pet to Ancient instead of Adult. After the first 2 hatches, I suggest bringing the pet to Ancient. Reason why? Because most of the talents have already transferred over to the new product. And in this case, Spellproof was one of them, and Defender, which is a great talent in my opinion, has transferred over as well. Since that has already happened, we already know that more and more talents are starting to get transferred over to the pet. Meaning that if we train it to Ancient, we already know that some of those talents are likely to show up because they have already almost all transferred. So it's good to bring it to Ancient so that the next pet hatch you do, those talents will show up as well instead of just those main two. Because if you keep hatching those main two, they will always show up. Not 100%, but they will always show up. Those two main talents that you used that reach adult always show up. Now if you go to Ancient and you get 3 of your good talents that you want on the pet and they show up on this one, then that is great because then you have something to work with, which is called a base. A base would be like if you're going for a triple damage proof crit for fire. Well, no, if you're going for like a triple damage pet for fire and you want to mix it up like triple damage double resist, triple damage proof fairy, triple damage crit block, or just any pet fire related that is triple damage, and you have a pet with pain giver, fire dealer, and fire giver, that's called a base. You can use that pet for any other pet you are going to hatch in the future that you want to involve triple damage in. And in this case, Spellproof and Defender, I would not 100% count that as a base. If it had Pain Giver, then that would be used as a base, especially as a universal base. Because then, if you're going for universal talents on a pet, such as Defender, Spellproof, Pain Giver, or Critical Striker, Spell Defy, and Spellproof, then that would also be a universal base. Now, if this pet had Storm Dealer, Storm Giver, and Pain Giver, that would be a triple damage Storm base, which you can use for any pets in the future that you want to have triple damage on. And that is very beneficial to keep. So in this case, we have a minute left, and we are going to train to Ancient, and then that will be the end of the video. And then we will base it, well, since we're going to bring it to Ancient, whatever talents we have, like what talents we get, we will base that and see if we are going to go to Epic on the next hatch or not. Like that's how we're going to base what next level of pet hatching we will go to. So 40 seconds left. I guess I could also talk about what talents were transferred over from Lady Sydney to here. So we still got Defender, we still got Epic, and we still got Spellproof, except it moved up, just like Madame Coco had Spellproof in the 3rd slot. The new pet has it in the 3rd slot as well. And there is Pain Giver above there. So we have Defender, Pain Giver, and Spellproof in the top 3. And that is great. And at the very bottom you have Ultra Rare and an Uncommon. The Ultra Rare is Storm Striker, and the Uncommon is Storm Giver. Now that Storm Dealer, which is an Ultra Rare, still has not yet shown. I believe it is one of the Ultra Rares that I am pointing at, like those two right next to the Will Head. And that honestly might be Storm Dealer. So if so, and that pops up, then that will just let us know that Storm Dealer is showing up, and whatever pet hatch we do from now on, Storm Dealer is more than likely to show up. So yeah, that's about it. And Bonnie has the numbers of 250 strength, 243 intellect, 250 agility, 250 will, and 206 power. Now from the last pet, Lady Sydney, we had a great increase in power. The power was 179, and now it is 206. So if my math is right, it increased by a total of 29, right? No, I can't do math. Sorry, 26. I'm not 100% sure. It's probably 36 or 26. But yeah, it's really sad that I can't do that. I know. But regardless, the power increased and the intellect increased by a small minimum. It increased by 4 plus... It increased by 7, which is great. So since the intellect is boosted, that will give us a higher amount of critical block if critical block shows up on Bonnie, which it is more than likely to because it showed up on Lady Sydney. So we're going to train this pet to Ancient, and then we are going to stop there for today's pet tutorial number 2. If you guys are enjoying the video so far and found anything I said helpful, please leave a like and share with your friends who are interested in finding a pet or interested in learning to make pets. So like I said, and if you are following along with this tutorial from the first video, as I mentioned, if you are following along with this series, I hope everything is going well for you. And if you find a flaw, or if anything didn't go right, or if anything didn't go the way that my pet went, please comment down below. Please, please, please. I will answer your question in the next video, and I will try to help you out as much as I can and tell you guys where you went wrong or what might have happened. So I accidentally trained the wrong pets. I trained Lady Sydney, which isn't what we want. So I just wasted about 6 pet energy on the wrong pet. So that is another thing to know. Please equip the right pet when training, so you don't waste however many energy it costs for the pet game, which in this case mine was 6. If it was 10, I would have cried because that is 10 energy gone to waste. But like I said, I'm going to transition and let you guys know what the pet receives at teen. Alright guys, the pet is ready to bring to teen. Let us see what it will get. Ready, set, teen. We got Pain Giver to show up. Cool. Alright. Pain Giver did not show up on Lady Sydney. However, because it was hatched with Madame Coco and Madame Coco had it, Madame Coco transferred Pain Giver to the talent pool of Lady Sydney. And even though it didn't show up, because it was in the pool and showed up on Madame Coco, it is still more than likely to show up on Bonnie. And in this case it did, so we received Pain Giver. We are going for two more stages. Yeah, 2 more stages of this pet, which are adults and Asians. So I will transition back again once we get to adults. Alright guys, we got our pet to the stage of adult. We have one more game until it reaches that stage. So here we go. We're going to give it a golden wheat bread. Now, another thing to note when training a pet, if you are unsure of what the talents you will get within that pet are, I suggest not feeding it your most valuable snack, because that snack may go to waste, especially if you get the talent that you do not want. Which in that case, you would want to start the pet over. You want to start again until you actually see progression or you actually see stats that you want. So in this case, it really doesn't matter to me if I train the pet, and if I train the pet with a really good mega snack and it fails, because I have plenty more. However, in this case, I'm going to set a good example, and on top of that, I do not want to keep wasting my precious fancy yogurts, which I don't mind spending these, but my fancy yogurts, you know, if you mess with my fancy yogurts, then we have problems. But anyways, here we go to adult, ready, set, golden wheat bread, and we got Defender again, which is completely normal because it showed up on Lady Sydney, which was the first hatch that we did with Madame Coco and King Dexter, which is a Storm Salamander. So, we are not done yet. We will proceed to Ancients because we see 2 successful results. We see 2 beneficial talents to my wizard, and that is just how I train my pets. If I see 2 beneficial talents to myself, then I will continue training to Ancient, and hopefully those talents will show up. And if they do, they are more than likely to show up on the next pet hatch, which will increase my chances of getting the 5 out of 5 talents that I want. So here we go again. We are going for Ancient. Alright guys, the pet is finally about to be Ancient. We are going to see what 3 talents it has, and whatever 3 talents or whatever the last talent is, those 3 total talents will most likely show up on the next pet hatch that I do. However, if this pet fails, then I am going to show you guys in the next video what I will do in case that happens. But in case that doesn't, and it successfully turns out to have 3 good talents, and I will proceed to do what I would do with pets at that stage in the next video. So here we go. Ready, set, Captain Cantaloupe, Storm Dealer. Alright, so this is 100% a good base in my opinion. And I also unlocked a socket, so if I wanted to put like Storm Giver on this, or you know, like a health jewel or something, or an energy jewel, I can definitely put that on there since I've unlocked it now. But this in this case would be a base. Now if I'm going for double block, triple damage, or just block, proof, and triple damage, or crit block, triple damage, this is a perfect base to use because these 3 talents would be beneficial on the next pet that I might hatch if I decide to go for a pet with block, Pain Giver, and Storm Dealer. So if I'm going for a pet with those 3 talents, this is going to be very great, as since they show up, they will be able to transfer onto the new pet. So regardless, we got these 3 great talents, and we're going to stop here, and I'll show you guys what I will do with the pet in the next video. So as of right now, to sum up what happened in this video, the power increased by a little bit, and so did the intellect. They both increased a little bit off of Lady Sydney, which was the pet hatch that we received in the first video, and also trained up in this video. So that is that. We have also transferred the talents of Defender, Pain Giver, and Storm Dealer successfully onto the final product of this pet for this video, and we have also transferred Spell Proof onto the first hatch that we trained in this video, which could also potentially show up on this pet if we decide to go any further. However, we will not. We will be training it again until the numbers are increased for intellect, power, and the pedigree itself. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, if you found any of what I said helpful, if you found anything that I said helpful, leave a like, share, subscribe for more videos, as this tutorial will go on until I get a mega pet that I can hatch out with any viewer from this series. Like any viewer that is watching this series that is active and leaves comments. Until I get a pet like that, this series will not end. I will also be doing series of videos similar like this. I'll be doing a series similar to this series for fire, ice, balance, you name it, in the comment section, and I'll definitely try my best to do it, especially since you guys will be receiving the pets towards the end of the series. So like I said, subscribe for that. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. This has been MegaMikey, and I will see you guys in the next video.